All right, let's talk about Travis Kelce. Why don't we? One of the best players in football, had an incredible day in this one. I thought he made some really key plays. He had a lot of big plays in the first half, and then a couple clutch catches in the second half. So let's talk about what he did so well and why he was really a matchup nightmare for the Philadelphia Eagles, which we expected, right? We expected him to have a big impact. And this game is a great example of kind of why with Mahomes, a lot what we talk about on this channel is the rules are different with Mahomes. You see him on display. You have Darius Slay, who's going to cover him at the start of this one. But then Kelce will run closer towards the middle of the field, meaning that he goes from being the outside receiver to the receiver closest towards the inside on that side of the field. So when that happens, what you see is that now it is no longer Darius Slay who is covering him. Darius Slay covered the receiver instead. They did a switch there. But the reality is you just can't do that against Travis Kelce. You just can't. You have to make sure that you have your best guys on him because he can beat really just about anybody, even if it is your best guys. But if you don't have your best guys, you're in trouble. And the advantage of having Travis Kelce be a tight end is that you get these favorable matchups that you don't typically get when you have an elite receiving option. As you see, Mahomes makes this throw. Kelce is able to make the grab. He's going to make those pretty consistently, and that was a key play to allow them to get a touchdown. So, again, he had some key plays early on, I thought. Like this one is another one where this is kind of more of a simple play that Kelce does really consistently well. And, it's nothing fancy that the Chiefs are doing necessarily. It's going to be a zone coverage play. It's a cover 2 zone. Kelce's running over the middle. That's the way this play works. You can kind of see on paper why this can work, especially when there's going to be a play action here. So hopefully those guys who are in charge of covering over the middle kind of run too far in. Kelce can hopefully get behind them, and maybe there is a window for Mahomes to make the throw. So Mahomes is going to run this play action, and this is actually pretty good defense, I would say, by the Eagles. I mean, you see right here, they got back relatively quickly. TJ Edwards, the linebacker in front, is doing a pretty good job of getting in position to disrupt a throw, and typically this is what causes a throw to not be able to be made, right? Typically this is good enough defense to make sure that you can't make that throw. But I say typically and not always, because what's going to happen right here is it's Travis Kelce and it's Mahomes. Most tight ends don't have the speed to outrun a linebacker like TJ Edwards, but Kelce does, and then he's able to do some good stuff after the catch as well. And again, these guys do this consistently. So for a team that in the Philadelphia Eagles, they've been good at defending this stuff all season. They really have. They've been consistently good at defending that stuff, but it's just different when Kelce comes to town. And kind of one of the things that we talked about previewing this game is the Eagles defense has been awesome this season. It's been objectively awesome this season, but it hasn't had to play a tight end really of the same caliber of Kelce, with the exception of in that 49ers game, they played Kittle, who I would still say Kelce is a better receiving option than Kittle, but also they had no quarterback, so it didn't really matter who was getting open. They couldn't make the throws here. This is just a different animal. But then let's go over here, because one of the things that people often talk about is how does Kelce keep getting so open? Why don't they cover Travis Kelce? And listen, there is some element to that, like that first play I showed you. Teams still probably could do a little better at protecting themselves from something like that. But it's also Andy Reid does such a good job of scheming up ways to get Kelce open, and there's few better examples than this play. Again, a lot of stuff that we talked about with Andy Reid that he did so well in this game. This play kind of went under the radar, though. It's going to be a zone coverage play, and you have Kelce, again, looks very similar to that last play, right? Has Kelce start running over the middle, okay? Why am I talking about this as a great Andy Reid play call? This is just what most teams do. Well, because that's going to happen. Kelce is faking as though he's running over the middle, but is then going to run back towards the outside. And doing stuff like this, it's so clever and it works so well because teams are expecting Kelce to find the gap over the middle. That's what Kelce does. That's what Kelce's known for. And that's just what tight ends do in general in this situation. But it's not what the Chiefs are doing here. Look, as you see, Mahomes is going to, again, kind of fake a jet sweep, almost a play action type thing. But when you get back to Kelce, I mean, look at how open Kelce is. Players don't get this open in the NFL unless there's a blown coverage. You see that there's an Eagle player on the ground, which, I don't know what was going on with this turf. I've said it in videos before. I don't get how this happens in the Super Bowl, where I guess they tried to really make the turf as good as possible, or I'm saying turf, I believe it's grass, but they put a lot of work and effort into making this grass as perfect as possible. possible, but it's I think in doing that, they kind of overthought it and made the field something that the players aren't used to, which meant they kept falling down and their cleats weren't ready for it. I don't know, maybe novel concept, but how about try to give them a field that they're used to playing on? That made sense to me. But anyways, back to, rant over about that. Back to Travis Kelce. Again, the way he gets so open is not just he's amazing. He is amazing, but then Andy Reid knows how to use him and knows how to utilize him in ways where on this play, it was almost Travis Kelce is so good. The threat of Travis Kelce got him open. That happens sometimes as well in football, and it happens with Kelce. Mahomes makes his throw, and this time it was actually a pretty good tackle in open space. That was by James Bradbury. Not an easy guy to tackle in open space. We've seen Kelce do some real damage after he makes the catch. But on this play, Bradbury did a pretty good job of making the play. But then this play it was early on in the second half, and again, he kind of went away towards the end there. He didn't have to do much. I mean, he wasn't needed. And the threat of Kelce obviously always still plays a role, as he's someone teams have to pay extra attention to. So of course, even if he's not making catches, he still has an impact. But still, this was kind of his big play in the second half. I thought it's a first down, so it's not the biggest situation, but still, it's a big situation. You're down 10 points. You really have to score here, you feel like, with the way that the Eagles offense is playing, putting up 24 in the first half, and they would still put up 11 in the second half. But Kelce's route, pretty simple situation, just running a route over the middle, right? Over the middle is going to be cleared, so this is a good angle to try and hit Kelce, and especially given the situation of it being Travis Kelce, Mahomes is going to look in his direction. Right when this play begins, Mahomes takes the snap, but pressure comes. Mahomes is going to kind of have to step up in the pocket and isn't going to be able to get a throw off cleanly the way he wants to. But you see down the field, Kelce has the inside leverage, and the defender who's covering him is starting to fall down, in fact, because there's some traffic in front, and Kelce cuts so well when he does cut over the middle. Look at how open he was, and then also look at the tough grab, catching it when it was a little bit underneath. He ends up picking up a first down on that play, whereas had he not been able to make that tough catch or get that open, then the reality is it's probably a third down situation. Maybe even Mahomes gets sacked, and not third down situation, a second down situation, but you don't gain any yards. Maybe Mahomes gets sacked, and now it's second down and even longer. Again, I'm not saying if they don't make this play, they lose the Super Bowl, but if they don't make any of these plays, they probably do lose the Super Bowl. I don't think they win without Travis Kelce. He had such a key impact in this Super Bowl, I thought. It's interesting because if you look at his 3 Super Bowls now, against San Francisco, he didn't have a monster day. He had an impact. He had 43 yards and a touchdown, but he didn't have the monster day. And even against Tampa Bay, he ended up with 133 yards. A good chunk of that, though, was when Tampa Bay started playing their zone coverage at the end. I thought this was actually his best Super Bowl in this one. He was targeted 8 times, had 7 receptions. And again, it's saying something when you had an 133-yard receiving day, and I still think this one was your best Super Bowl because of how well he played. But yeah, that's what I thought. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What were your thoughts on Travis Kelce and his performance here in the Super Bowl? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.